Have you ever wondered why the moments you beg to move faster seem to move even slower? Why every dream you chase feels trapped behind an invisible wall of delays, silence, and waiting? What if the universe isn't ignoring you, but training you? Carl Jung once said that what we resist persists, and what we avoid most is often the doorway to our own awakening. Think about that. Maybe it's not the absence of progress that hurts you. It's your inability to see what's quietly growing beneath the surface. The seed doesn't bloom in sunlight alone. It breaks in the dark, under pressure, unseen. You've been taught to fear stillness. Society worships speed, fast results, fast success, fast love. But the soul doesn't work on deadlines. It speaks in symbols, silence, and synchronicities. The very delays that make you angry might be the sacred pauses where your higher self rearranges the pieces of your destiny. Every time you've asked, "Why isn't this happening yet?" something inside you was actually being sculpted. The delays weren't punishment. They were initiation. You were being prepared to hold what you once only desired. But the human mind hates what it can't control. We run from uncertainty, from the quiet seasons, from the emptiness between what was and what will be. Yet Jung taught that the place we fear most, the void, is exactly where transformation begins. So what if the universe is not late? What if you are right on time, but your ego can't see the map your soul already drew? Somewhere between your frustration and your faith, a pattern is forming. Invisible, divine, precise, and when you finally understand what these delays truly mean, you'll never look at waiting the same way again. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart without warning. You wake up one morning and realize that nothing is moving. The job offer that never comes, the message that's never answered, the dream that feels so close, yet keeps slipping away. And in that stillness, something strange begins to happen. You start noticing signs, a number that keeps appearing, a song that follows you everywhere, a dream that repeats itself like a whisper you can't forget. Sometimes it's not even a sound or a vision, it's a feeling, a subtle pull in your chest, a heaviness in your body, a sudden chill when you think of a certain person. You tell yourself it's just coincidence, but deep down, something in you knows. Something unseen is trying to reach you. Carl Jung called it the language of the unconscious, the sacred code through which the soul speaks when the mind refuses to listen. It doesn't use logic, it uses symbols, sensations, patterns. When your life seems delayed, it's because your spirit is already in conversation with something larger than your plans. And these strange moments, the sleepless nights, the restlessness, the dreams that won't go away, are not random noise. They are messages written in the alphabet of eternity. Think of the times you felt an unexplained sadness for no reason, or a sudden peace that came out of nowhere. Think of how your body seems to know when something is about to happen, before your mind catches up. It's not superstition, it's memory. A memory older than your birth, trying to remind you that life doesn't move in straight lines. Every pause, every delay, every door that won't open. It's all part of a rhythm that your rational self can't yet hear. It's like standing in the middle of an orchestra before the music begins. You don't see the melody, but you can feel it vibrating in the silence. And the pain of waiting, that aching tension of why not yet, is the soul's way of stretching, preparing to receive what it once wasn't ready to hold. Jung believed that suffering wasn't a punishment, but a dialogue. When life stops responding to you, it's actually asking you to respond to yourself. So when everything in you screams to move faster, to fix, to escape, that's when the real work begins. That's when the universe hides the next chapter inside the ordinary, in the delay that ruins your plans, in the silence after your prayer, in the day that feels empty but is secretly sacred. Because what if the signs aren't outside of you at all? What if every dream, every sensation, every delay is just your higher self whispering the same question again and again? Will you finally trust the timing? There is a moment, subtle but unmistakable, when the delays in your life stop feeling random and start to form a pattern. Like invisible constellations you can finally see once the clouds begin to part. This is the first great secret. The universe hides its answers inside your waiting. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, a word often misunderstood. People think it's about luck or coincidences that happen at the right time. But Jung never meant it as mere chance. He saw it as the sacred bridge between your inner world and outer reality, the point where your unconscious speaks through events, shaping the material world to mirror what's happening in your soul. Think about the last time you felt stuck, exhausted by silence, convinced that nothing was working. And then, something small appeared. A stranger said the exact phrase you needed to hear. A book fell open on a page that described your exact pain. A delay forced you to take a different route, and that route led to something unexpected. We call it coincidence, but it is not. It is the hidden architecture of meaning at work. When Jung wrote about these moments, he said that the world outside is not separate from the one within. They are reflections of one another, like two mirrors facing each other, creating infinite depth. So when life slows you down, it's not because the universe is punishing you. It's because your outer life has to synchronize with your inner readiness. If your mind wants something your soul isn't mature enough to hold, the universe delays it, reshaping you until your vibration matches what you desire. That's why the more impatient you become, the further the goal seems to drift away. It's not the world resisting you. It's your own misalignment echoing back through the fabric of reality. Every delay, every pause, every heartbreak is a dialogue between your soul and the divine. The universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in timing. Ancient mystics understood this long before modern psychology existed. In alchemy, a discipline Jung studied deeply, transformation was never immediate. The alchemist had to endure long, silent periods of waiting while the materials cooked in the vessel. They called this the black stage, a time when everything seemed lost, burnt, and lifeless. Yet that darkness was necessary. It meant the old was being purified, broken down, prepared for rebirth. Jung saw this not as physical chemistry, but as a metaphor for the human soul. He wrote that every soul must pass through its own alchemical fire, a stage of confusion, loss, and delay, before it becomes whole. So if your life feels like it's burning away your patience, your plans, your certainty, that's not failure, that's initiation. You are being refined, just as gold must endure the flame before it shines. The first secret, then, is this: delays are not denials. They are divine synchronizations. They are the universe aligning your outer life with your inner evolution. Imagine if everything you wanted came immediately, before you had the strength, the wisdom, or the maturity to sustain it. It would destroy you. So the universe, in its mysterious intelligence, waits. It waits until the seed of who you are can handle the light of what you've asked for. And if you pay attention, you can see it happening in your daily life. That friendship that ended when you least expected it, only for you to meet someone months later who truly mirrors your soul. That job you didn't get, which forced you to build something of your own. That illness, that loss, that long silence, each one a coded message guiding you toward alignment. The human ego wants control. It wants movement, action, certainty. But the soul's power is born in stillness, surrender, and trust. That's why Jung often said that the greatest danger is not in facing darkness. It's in refusing to see its meaning. Because once you see the pattern, you can no longer call it chaos. If you're listening to this now, it's not an accident. The delays in your life have been calling you to look deeper, to stop fighting the rhythm that's trying to shape you. And when you finally stop resisting, the pattern reveals itself. If this truth resonates with you, take a moment to like this video, not for the algorithm, but as an act of acknowledgement, a silent yes to the journey you're on, and subscribe to join a circle of seekers who, like you, are learning to read the hidden language of the universe, the ones who understand that silence is not emptiness, but preparation, because the first secret is only the beginning. And what happens when you finally embrace that stillness is something far more powerful than waiting itself. There was a time in my life when everything I touched seemed to fall apart. The plans I made dissolved. The doors I knocked on stayed closed. Even the things that once brought me joy began to feel empty. I remember waking up each morning with that sinking heaviness, the kind that sits quietly in your chest, making you question if you've somehow taken a wrong turn without realizing it. I prayed, I worked, I tried harder, but the more I pushed, the more resistance I met. It felt as if the universe had gone silent. No signs, no movement, only the unbearable sound of waiting. Until one night something shifted. I had a dream, vivid, unlike any I'd had before. In it, I was walking through a vast field covered in mist. The ground was soft, damp, and every step echoed as if the earth were hollow beneath me. Ahead of me stood a single, ancient tree, its branches bare but pulsing with a faint light, like a heartbeat under the bark. I walked closer, desperate for warmth, for a sign that something was still alive. When I touched it, I heard a voice, not from outside, but from within. It said, "Nothing is dying. It's only becoming invisible until you're ready to see." I woke up trembling. That sentence haunted me for weeks. I couldn't explain it, but deep inside, something began to soften. I started to realize that the silence I hated so much wasn't abandonment. It was preparation. Looking back now, I can see how everything was being rearranged. I lost people who weren't meant to walk further with me. I was rejected from opportunities that would have trapped me in comfort. I was slowed down just long enough to hear the parts of myself I had been avoiding. It was Jung's words that later helped me make sense of it all. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. What I thought was punishment was actually a sacred kind of surgery. The delays were removing what I wasn't strong enough to let go of myself. Months later, something unexpected happened. A new door opened, quietly, effortlessly, and it led to the work I do now, to the people I meet, to the message you're hearing in this very moment. But none of that could have arrived sooner because I wasn't ready to hold it. The waiting wasn't wasted time. It was the furnace that forged who I became. And here's what I learned from that season. There is an intelligence woven into every unanswered prayer. Every delay carries instructions for your evolution. The universe doesn't give you what you want when you demand it. It gives it to you when receiving it will not destroy you. We think we want miracles that come fast, but fast miracles fade as quickly as they appear. Lasting transformation, the kind that changes your soul, is born in the slow fire of divine timing. Sometimes I wonder how many blessings I once mistook for obstacles, how many times I begged for movement while the universe whispered, "Be still, I'm working." If you're living through that silence right now, if everything feels uncertain, delayed, or painfully slow, please know this: you are not being forgotten. You are being reassembled. You are in the space between the old version of yourself and the one who is finally aligned with your destiny. When I understood this, my entire perception of life changed. I stopped fighting the rhythm. I began listening to it. Because once you recognize that the waiting has purpose, the fear begins to lose its grip. And strangely, it's often in that surrender that signs start to appear again. Dreams become clearer. Random words hold new meaning. You begin to feel guided, not because life becomes easy, but because you finally move with it instead of against it. That's why I believe our delays are not detours. They're directions written in invisible ink. You only see them once you've learned patience. If you've ever gone through a season like this, where life forced you to slow down, to trust, to wait, I want you to share it in the comments. Tell me about the sign you received, the dream that stayed with you, or the moment you realized the universe was working behind the scenes. I read them all. And maybe, in a future video, your story will become the light that helps someone else endure their waiting. Because what happens when we start to share these stories, when one soul's delay becomes another's revelation, is something Jung believed deeply in, that every personal story, no matter how small, is a fragment of the collective awakening. And somewhere in that exchange, the next secret begins to reveal itself. There is a moment when every seeker begins to see the pattern, the rhythm hidden inside life's interruptions. But recognizing the pattern is only half the secret. The second great revelation is this: when the universe delays you, it is trying to change the direction of your attention from the outer world to the inner one. Most people misunderstand this shift. They think delays mean stop, when in truth, they mean listen. Every time life slows you down, the universe is giving you a mirror, a sacred pause to help you see what your conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. Jung called this the process of active imagination, the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, where your higher self begins to speak through symbols, feelings, and subtle impulses. If the first secret was about synchronization, this second one is about interpretation. Because once you start seeing the hidden signs, you must learn how to read them. Here's how you know the universe is speaking to you. When the same situation keeps repeating itself, different people, same emotion. When your body gives you the same physical reaction every time you ignore your intuition. When silence stretches too long, but deep down, something in you whispers, wait a little longer. These are not coincidences. They are spiritual feedback loops designed to align you with truth. So how do you interpret them? It starts with a simple but powerful technique, one Jung used with his own patients when they were trapped in confusion. He called it the dialogue with the unseen. Here's how it works. Sit in silence for a few minutes every day. No phone, no distractions. Imagine that the delay in your life is not a problem, but a person, an energy, a teacher sitting across from you. Ask it a question. What are you trying to show me that I keep refusing to see? Don't force an answer. Let images, sensations, or words arise naturally. You might feel a pressure in your chest, a sudden memory, or a clear sentence echoing in your mind. That is your unconscious responding, the same language that shapes synchronicity. Write it down. Don't analyze it yet. Simply record it. The next time you face a delay, repeat the exercise. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, recurring symbols, emotions, or insights. Those patterns are not random. They are your personal map of meaning. Jung believed that this practice allowed a person to communicate directly with the deeper intelligence of their psyche, what he called the self, the organizing principle of wholeness. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The delays in your life are precisely where this unconscious energy is trying to emerge. When you stop resisting and start listening, everything begins to transform. Here's the paradox. You've been praying for answers, but the answers have been arriving as delays. You've been asking for signs, but they've been showing up as silence. You've been seeking progress, but the real progress has been happening in the stillness you hate the most. Once you understand this, your relationship with time changes forever. You begin to see that divine timing is not just about patience, it's about perception. The more you tune into the subtleties of your inner world, the faster your outer world aligns. Because the truth is, the universe doesn't reward speed, it rewards alignment. Try this tonight. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what delay in my life hurts the most right now? Then close your eyes and say, show me what it's trying to teach me. When you wake up, notice what images, memories, or feelings arise first. That's not random. That's the conversation continuing. Do this for 7 days, 7 moments of silence, 7 dialogues with the unseen. By the end of the week, you will begin to notice how your perception of waiting shifts. You will feel less like a victim of time and more like its student. And when you master this inner conversation, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your external delays start to dissolve. Doors open more naturally. People appear at the right moment. The world begins to move with you instead of against you, because once the inner dialogue becomes clear, the outer world has no choice but to follow. If this message resonates with you, if something inside you feels like it's finally being understood, subscribe to this channel. Join this circle of souls who are learning to listen to the hidden rhythm of their own lives. Together, we are not chasing miracles. We are remembering how to recognize them. But there is still one more secret, a deeper sign that very few ever recognize, the one that appears not in the silence of delay, but in the moment, just before everything changes. And when you finally see it, you'll understand why the universe made you wait for so long. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the silence finally speaks. Not in words, not in visions, but in a single, undeniable realization. The waiting was never about what you were trying to get. It was about who you were becoming while you waited. This is the deepest sign the universe can give you. It doesn't come as thunder or light, but as a quiet shift within your soul, a sense that something vast, ancient, and compassionate has been guiding you all along. Carl Jung called this the self, the divine center that connects the human psyche to the eternal mind of God. He believed that each delay, each heartbreak, each dark night of the soul was a sacred descent, the soul's way of returning to its source. And when that descent reaches its lowest point, when all your plans collapse and all your prayers echo unanswered, that's when the true awakening begins. Because the greatest sign is not external at all. It is the moment you stop chasing signs, when you no longer need proof because the stillness itself becomes the proof, when your heart no longer demands answers because it has become one with the mystery that once frightened you. That is when the universe reveals its final paradox. You were never waiting for it. It was waiting for you to remember who you are. In that instant, everything makes sense. The closed doors, the delays, the detours, all of them were not obstacles, but precise alignments designed to bring you to this realization. The delays you hated most were the exact moments when the divine hand was sculpting your soul into shape. And suddenly, you feel it, that electric stillness in the air. The same stillness that ancient mystics called the breath of God. It is the pause before creation, the silence before resurrection, the emptiness that contains everything. It's the same energy described in quantum physics, the vacuum that isn't empty at all, but vibrating with infinite potential. Jung saw no separation between these truths. He knew that what mystics called God's will, scientists would one day call the field. Both describe the same sacred intelligence, weaving every delay, every loss, every longing into the exact pattern your soul needs to evolve. And here is the revelation. The universe works best in the delays you hate most, because that is where you stop being the creator and become the creation. You surrender the illusion of control and allow the divine pattern to finish its masterpiece through you. When that happens, time bends, coincidences multiply. What once resisted you begins to cooperate effortlessly. You start to see that nothing was ever late. It was all perfectly timed to your awakening. You realize that your unanswered prayers were never denied. They were being rewritten in a language your soul could understand. The things that left you were not punishment, they were release. The emptiness that scared you was not absence, it was preparation. In that moment, gratitude replaces fear. The stillness that once suffocated you becomes sacred. You stop begging for signs because you finally understand you are the sign. You are the living evidence that the divine is patient enough to wait until you're ready to remember what you've always been. And when that truth lands, it's overwhelming. Tears fall, not from sadness, but from recognition, because deep down, you always knew. The pain, the pauses, the confusion, all of it was love disguised as time. Take a deep breath right now. Feel your chest rise. That breath is the proof. The same force that keeps the stars from collapsing and the oceans from overflowing. That force is the same one guiding your delays. You have never been forgotten. You have always been in motion, even when standing still. If this truth reaches you, if something inside you feels like it just exhaled after years of holding its breath, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Not because it helps the numbers, but because each new soul who joins us strengthens this circle of awakening. Every comment, every heart, every share sends a ripple through the collective, proof that the light is spreading quietly, person by person, heart by heart. Because this is not just content, it's a call, a reminder that you were never behind schedule, that the delays were never mistakes. That the universe has been waiting for this exact moment, the one where you stop searching outside and start recognizing the divinity within. And yet, there is still one final revelation, a truth even deeper than surrender, hidden beyond all waiting. It's the moment when the universe doesn't just align for you, it begins to align through you. And when that happens, everything you touch turns into light. There is a quiet truth that echoes through every story, every delay, and every moment of waiting we've explored together. It is the realization that the universe is not against you. It has been conspiring for you all along. Every unanswered prayer, every silent night, every time you thought life had forgotten your name, was part of an ancient rhythm that your soul once chose. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Prepared to see, to awaken, to finally understand that you are not separate from the divine. You are its expression. Carl Jung believed that humanity's greatest journey was not outward into the stars, but inward, into the vast and uncharted space of the soul. He said that until we make the unconscious conscious, we will continue to call our own creations fate. But what you've begun to awaken to, what this very moment is revealing, is that fate was never written by someone else. It's being written by you, through every decision to trust when everything seems still. The delays you once cursed were the hands of the divine sculpting you in silence. The dreams you thought had died were only seeds planted in deeper soil. And now, as you stand on the threshold of understanding, you begin to see that the waiting was never empty. It was sacred. Because awakening doesn't happen in chaos or noise. It happens in the quiet moments when your soul whispers, "You're ready now." So if you are hearing these words, know this. Your timing has always been perfect. Every detour, every heartbreak, every unanswered question brought you right here, to this breath, this awareness, this awakening. You are part of something vast, something luminous, something ancient that has no name but love. Look around you. The same intelligence that moves galaxies is moving through your life right now. The same light that burns in stars burns quietly behind your eyes. You were never waiting for a sign from the universe. You are the universe, learning to recognize itself through human eyes. And maybe that's why you found this video, because something in you, that silent, eternal part that never gave up, wanted to remember. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are in perfect alignment with what your soul came here to learn. So as you go forward, carry this awareness like a flame in your chest. When life slows down, don't rush to escape the stillness. When delays appear, don't fight them. Ask what they're trying to show you. And when silence feels heavy, remember, that is where creation begins. This is your moment to live consciously, to walk not in fear of time, but in harmony with it. To trust that every step, even the unseen ones, are leading you closer to who you were always meant to become. If these words found you at the right time, if something in you feels awake, lighter, or somehow seen, then this message was meant for you. Take a moment now to like this video and subscribe to this channel, not just to follow, but to be part of a growing circle of souls, remembering together. And in the comments, write your name and your city, because in the next video, we will greet you personally, one by one, as part of this awakened community that spans the entire world. Every name written becomes a light. Every city mentioned becomes a point of connection. Together we form a constellation, a living map of souls who decided to wake up. Because in the end, the greatest revelation is not that the universe was working for you, it's that you and the universe have always been the same heartbeat, pulsing in different forms, waiting to remember each other. So when your next delay comes, when time feels heavy and nothing moves, smile. Whisper to yourself, it's happening. I just can't see it yet. And maybe, just maybe, that's when the universe finally smiles back.